Can you profit grading your sports cards with CGC? The answer is yes. In this video, I'll show you some of the cards I like to send to CGC that can be sold for quick and easy profits. In the hobby today, PSA is a clear number one, but number two is a little cloudy. At one point it was Beckett, then SGC, now CGC is up there in volume, but the resale value in sports cards just isn't there yet. But I'll also be talking about why I believe CGC is in a position of strength within the current landscape of grading. So stay tuned while I talk about this, along with show you the preview of cards I'm sending, and of course the grading reveal itself. Let's get to work. Welcome to the channel, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me today. As usual, shout out to the OGs. Appreciate you tuning in time and time again, showing some love. It never gets less meaningful to me. If you're new to the channel, hit the like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. We keep you updated when videos are posted, and also give you access to the ones that have already been there if you want to catch up. So in front of me here, I've got a stack of cards that I'm going to be sending to CGC. I've got one video on the channel already that was of me using 4 different services with CGC at the same time for different reasons. So they are my favorite for my collectibles, but much of the feedback I gave during that video wasn't entirely well received by everybody. Now, I'll admit up front, the resale value is not there. Obviously, a 10 in a CGC versus a 10 in a PSA slab, they're not going to sell for the same price typically. However, a lot of the questions that I received or comments I received was, can you make money submitting cards to CGC? I confidently answered everybody yes. And it's not just because I like them. I actually do make money using CGC. Is it great? No, but I really feel because their price point's so good, you can send them the right lower end cards and make money. So I'm going to go through that here with the kind of cards that I chose to send to them. And I'm going to add just a little bit more dialogue before I get started here with the preview. You can see the top one here, my pre-grade note has CGC 9.5 on there, but as we go through these, you will see some that say SGC 9.5. Those were in my grade pile from who knows when, probably like February on, once I started using SGC a little bit. And at the end of my last CGC reveal video, I talked about how I will be, unfortunately, probably steering away from SGC. And it's nothing about them. It's just about the situation that they're in. And I'm not going to go too much into those comments that I made there. You're welcome to go back and check it out. But it basically was me saying I believe that they're going to kind of get swallowed up by PSA over time. And I just didn't want to be stuck holding a lot of those slabs if and when that happens. Those comments were met with mixed reactions as well. A lot of people believe that why would you acquire a business that makes money and then just flatten it and do those sort of things. So all very valid inputs. Again, it's everybody's opinion at the time. However, a lot of what I said a few months ago is starting to come true. At the end of July, Ryan Hogue was on Neo's channel, and there's a really good interview. If you haven't seen that, I would check it out. Neo asked him some pretty pointed questions. It just was basically what's up with SGC, what's going on with Peter, all this stuff. And then you find out that, somewhat like I said, he's been gone for a while. And it sounds like he's been in communication with leadership at Collectors Universe about his desire to leave. So they retained him for a while, but he is going to be stepping down. And maybe by the time you see this video, he has stepped down. So that falls in line with what I was saying, is I really believe that Collectors Universe wants to really separate PSA as the leader. And I don't see them continuing to just build SGC. Basically what Ryan said in that interview was they're not going to dissolve SGC, but they're not going to grow it either. They're just going to kind of let it be a niche grading company for the people that really like them. They're going to keep the price point where it's at, focus on the quick turn times, and they're going to keep the same grading team there. However, since that last video I did, PSA has moved in basically next door. They have another office right down in Florida. And Ryan Hogue announced that some of those employees are going to be transferring over to PSA. So it really, to me, is just a writing on the wall. I don't know what that's going to do to value, but the value of the slabs it is. But it's something that I'm just very cautious of, especially as someone that's not really buying like vintage cards to hold on to and stuff like that. I'm looking more towards growth. And there's always going to be somebody competing. If CGC somehow bowed out and Beckett bowed out, somebody would take advantage of that space. It's never just going to be any one company, I don't think. So if SGC is only meant to be a certain size, or that's at least the plan, somebody's going to move into number 2. And like I thought back earlier in the spring, that would be CGC. I think they're just very motivated to grow. They've done a lot of the right things. They already have a presence in collectibles. They just need to kind of break through on the trading cards. Admittedly, they have not yet, but my thought is I can already make money doing it. I like them. I'm comfortable with the whole process. So I'm just going to continue to use them for my lower end cards. And the ones that I was kind of on the fence with, do I send to SGC to try to get the 9.5 or a soft 10? I'm basically looking at those cards at this point. Am I okay with just accepting a potential PSA 9 or a very likely PSA 9? If I still want that 9.5, can I send it to CGC, get the 9.5, and still have it make sense for me to send there? So there's some of those cards that are somewhat in that gray area that I'm just kind of have in a box at this point. I'm not sure what to do with them. They're gradable, but they're just going to have to wait their turn, I guess, and see how some of this shakes out over the summer and the fall. But that out of the way, we're just going to hop into the cards that I will be sending to CGC. I'll go through what they are real quick, what the pre-grade is, and why I'm sending it there, why I believe I can make money. So we'll just jump right into it. Here we've got Patrick Mahomes. I believe this is just the snapshot silvered. I don't know why this is stuck on here, but good looking card. And with CGC, like anybody else, it's kind of the GOATs are the way to go. So you get the best players that always have value. So Patrick Mahomes, if this card truly does grade a 9.5, I'll be able to make money on this for sure. If I sent somebody that was a little bit more of like a mid-tier fringe Hall of Famer, we'll say like Matthew Stafford or Phillip Rivers, those cards are going to be a lot harder to move. I've made that mistake in the past and learned from it, and I've gotten like Phillip Rivers cards numbered to like 49, I think, that were graded 9.5s, and they just sat. I mean, I was dropping the fee to like $20 and they just weren't moving. So that is the lesson really, is if you're going to send some low end stuff, it's got to be GOAT players. So you got to be your like Michael Jordans, your Patrick Mahomes, your Tom Brady's, people like that are going to sell no matter what. So this one graded at a 9.5, but there's a slight nick about a ½ inch behind Mahomes' helmet, slight print lines on the back. So must be a little nick on the surface background over here, according to my notes, and some slight print lines. So CGC's been kind of hit and miss on the print lines too. They gave me a lot of passes on my Mekhi Bectons, and then there was some that they were like overly hard on. So I'm not really sure. It's kind of like everybody else. You might get a 8.5, you might get a 10. So this is a Magic Johnson refractor here, and this is I can't remember what the set was, like Archives or something like that, but this one I had a 9.5. There's a print line left to right across the back. Shot at a 10. The surface on the front was like really clean. It's a nice card. This one had a little bit of that kind of like refractor gunk I had to kind of polish off here. Not polish, but kind of just use the hot breath and just keep kind of working it off. It was a little sticky until I was able to get the surface a little bit more smooth, I guess you'd say. It wasn't as tacky. So this one, CGC 9.5. Tom Brady here, just a base card. I would have picked this up for probably $1, maybe less. This card is really clean, really sharp, really centered. I think this one will get a 10. Got a lot of CGC Toms in a 10. Here we've got a Luka Doncic. This is, I think, the tricolor shimmer, something like that. This is a CGC 9.5. But there is it a nick or a mark on the back right? The back right of the Mavs logo. So it's over here somewhere. There must be just a little nick, something on the back. Sometimes you get a pass on the stuff on the back, sometimes not. And you would have seen this on a previous mail day. This is Cynthia Cooper, legend in the WNBA. And I put CGC 10. There's an impression on the back from the foil. So where these stamps are, there's an impression, which I think I could probably get it to pop here. I can see with my eyes, but it's the reflection. The camera's not working. There you go. You can see it a little bit there. Right up here where that like badge from the stamp right there. So I don't know how people are going to grade those. Typically it's just like part of the factory stuff. But once in a while you get a wild grader that just wants to be a hero and says that's like an 8 or something, and what can you do about it? Here we got a LeBron James. This is I don't remember if it was just like a hyper or what it was, some sort of optic parallel. I had a 9.5 for this one, and that was just due to the centering. Centering is just not perfect, but the rest of the card's pretty sharp. This is pretty much flawless. Got a CGC 10 on this one. Jason Tatum, reactive orange. Got that card really cheap, and it's probably not a high-end card anyway. Even in a CGC 10, it's probably less than $30, but there's room to be made there when you're card grading after your discounts like $13.50, you're into the card for $1. If you can sell those for $25, you're doing pretty good. So here, SGC 9.5, this is an Austin Matthews special edition upper deck. Kind of refractor type thing going on, but there's a little dimple on the top left corner. So that's going to be up in here, just a little kind of surface. Not a big dimple, but just a little one. Probably enough to knock it down from a gem. Usually when it's on the front, there's not much you can do. These type of cards too, I like sending to CGC. And this is the Queen Elizabeth set. This is Oprah here. I'll pick up these pop culture cards for like $1. Little royal family or royal wedding set, and it was super clean. Those are the cards that work too. So a lot of people send like pop culture cards there, a lot of the Tops Now cards, that sort of stuff. CGC 10, we got a flawless CJ Stroud here, but it's just kind of low end. Goodwin Champions parallel, I think it was like the rainbow something. So yeah, there we go, rainbow. Nothing crazy, just trying to get a low end Stroud. Hopefully I'll get that back before the season starts. Just a cheap JJ McCarthy here, Haunted Hits. This one's numbered to 2, I think, or 4. Really cheap, but it was really clean. So we'll try to see if we can get this. And there'll be somebody that's looking for a cheap gem JJ. Though that's really my intent there, is that would be happy just to own a gem JJ. So that's the thought process there. Caleb Williams, Goodwin Champions. This is like the orange, platinum orange or something like that, orange prism. This one's numbered to $4.99, not low print at all. Just sending it there, trying to get some cheap young quarterbacks that make a little bit of money. This one was actually a decent card, believe it or not. Another clean CGC, I don't know why I put CSG, but CGC 10. This was the tortoise shell, numbered to 149. Pretty clean, and this is serial number 8 of 149. Here we got another Caleb Williams. This was an SGC 9.5. I put the back right corner, had a touch of white, which you can't even really see it anyways, but when you zoom in, it does have kind of like a gray, kind of like stippled type look to the paper, and you can see that there's a void there. So the corner's still sharp, so this is a shot at a 10, but this was going to be an SGC. This is basically a determination. I wasn't going to send it to PSA because I did not want this in a 9. I figured it would for sure 9.5 or gem, so I was just going to move it there. So those are the types of cards I'm sending. I think this will get a CGC 10. This is just a straight up Topps Chrome McDonald's, Hannah Hidalgo and Juju Watkins. Trying to get these graded in the off season, wait for Juju to come back healthy. Same sort of thing here. Got a cheap Goodwin Champions Juju. This is the, doesn't have the parallel listed on the back like the Caleb Williams did, but this one is some sort of orange. And the top left corner has just a slight touch of white. So that's up here. And we'll see what CGC does with it. Everything else is perfect. CGC 10, cheap Allen Iverson, I think this was. Correction, Wayne Gretzky. This is a sharp looking card. This is like I'm saying, just cheap GOAT cards you send to them. And if something goes haywire, you're not really hurt because the grading fee is so low. That's really the direction that I'm going with these cards. All right, here was another one from the SGC 9.5 pile. So Wayne Gretzky, top right corner on the back was not sharp. Okay, so that's right here, and that's usually what that means is there's just like the paper is just kind of soft. It's not, there's no loss. It just doesn't have that like sharpness to it. It's just a little. It's hard to say what they'll do with it, but if I basically say if I notice it, somebody else likely will. So when I'm grading, this is like the lowest I think it should get is a 9.5. Could go better. SGC 9.5 here, this is a Michael Jordan, Goodwin Champions, his Airness, basic paper card. There is a nick in the Upper Deck logo on the back, which is almost always suicide for the Upper Deck cards. They want those clean logos, no scratches. I'll see if I can get the nick to pop here, but not really, but we'll see what happens there. So now we're getting into some of the low-end MJs. These are the ones from the mail day lots back in like February or whenever I posted those videos. I've had some of these that were like the 9.95s kind of hanging around. I put that this would gem, but you can see the outline of the Upper Deck on the back. So here's another one where the print stamp, if I can get it to pop up there, comes through, and I just don't know what the grading companies will do with it. There you can see it a little bit there. See how that kind of looks like there's like a dimple in the back. All right, 9.5, slight in all caps. surface mark near the head on the front. Very hard to see. Okay, so it looked like I must have really angled this in the light, and it looks like there's something inside the sleeve here, but had it as a SGC 9.5, so I'm expecting a CGC 9.5. Here I had it as a 9 for this Michael Jordan here. Slight white on 2 of the 4 front corners. So that's almost suicide at PSA for sure. But PSA is the hardest on the corners, I believe. So this one could get pushed to 9.5, maybe even a 10. You never know. Upper Deck Victory, this is a foil. So it's not the white borders, but this one I had as a SGC 9.5. Front bottom right corner is odd. So I think that would have been looking like it was maybe nicked or folded at one time. You see, it's not, it's odd, like pinched or something. So we'll see. It looks good under magnification, but it also doesn't. So we'll find out. This was from the video where I was pulling junk, or I was ripping junk wax. Got Jordan, Blaylock, and Stockton. I expect this to get like a 9.5. The ones that I thought would 10, I sent to PSA. So these ones had a little centering issues and stuff like that. So Michael Jordan hoops, 9.5. Didn't have the pre-grade on those just because I just kind of memorized it. SGC 9.5 on this. Small white chip on the bottom right corner. Okay, so there's just a small chip down here. Must have been on the edge or something like that when I was looking under magnification. But these usually grade pretty well, these minor league Jordans. All right, another 9.5. It's a gem, aside from a barely visible scratch on the back, lower left to the right of the logo. So, the Upper Deck logo. So it must be just like a little nick or scratch down here. So in the paper, sometimes it's hard to read my own notes, but 9.5, not a gem. But these Jordans are like, I think the average cost from the Jordan Smells lot was like $1.52 or something like that. So you do that with a grading fee of, I think it's $13.50, and then you have all your costs and shipping into it. We'll just say that card is $15, $16 a cost. That thing comes back in 9. You'll be able to get your money back for sure. So that's the logic there. Is it going to be big money? No. But when asked, like, can I be profitable doing this? Almost certainly. This was a 9.5 front bottom right corner slight white. So that would be down here. And you could tell it's very slight. Like, it's not bad. It's just, it is what it is. Here's a Jordan. This is the Upper Deck Goody card, 9.5. I put strong PSA 9. Has a fisheye to the left of the Goody, okay? And these ones we'll be able to kind of blaze through them. These were from previous mail days. The tops now, The Rock, John Cena, and Travis Scott. They're all the base ones. They're pretty clean. I expect 9.5s and 10s out of these. These Pope Leos, I'm not sure. I would say 9.5s on all of them. I'm sure one will get probably pushed through as a gem, but I sent the ones that were absolutely flawless to PSA, and the ones that had just a little something with a corner here or there, whatever, I held them back, and I'm going to do a cheaper service. So I think I'll get a few 10s. I don't know for sure. That's the preview. Going to send these off to CGC. It's probably going to be a month or so till we see them back. So it's going to be a little bit of a wait for me. It's going to be about 2 seconds for you. So we'll see you with the grades.
A few moments later.
And here we have it. Finally got some graded cards back on the channel. I think it's been since like July since I've had a grading submission come back. This one in particular was sent off at the end of July. Got marked received August 2nd. At CGC, and it did not ship until October 28th. It got to my PO box on Halloween, and here I'm recording it now on, I believe it's November 3rd. So CGC is just as much backed up as PSA is. I actually sent a 30-some card PSA order on the exact same day as this, and that has been in quality checks for a few days, so that should pop pretty soon and ship as well. So look forward to that and see how I did. Okay, we are back. I've got the cards over to my left here. If I can keep this lid open, we will get going on these. And as I go, I'll have the raw price as well as a grading price, total all-in cost, just to kind of show you basically what I expected, what I actually got, how accurate I was. At the very end, of course, we will have the overall gem rate and just final thoughts. So if I can get this lid to stay open, we will start with, maybe it'll be a little easier for me to split it over here. We'll see. All right. The First, we've got one of these Michael Jordans. This was the minor league upper deck cards. Believe this was pre-graded at a 9.5. I should know, but I recorded the. Okay, we're going to. Okay, let's try that again. All right, that lid was causing problems, but anyway, this was pre-graded at a 9.5. I'll try to remember my pre-grades as good as I can. It was 3 months ago that I recorded it, so even though it's just a few seconds for you, it's been a while for me. Michael Jordan has got a gem mint 10, so that is nice. And these cards you can usually sell, even in the CGC holder, these minor league Michael Jordans, for about 40 bucks. Gotta be patient, put them out to buy it now and let somebody come along. Here we have one of the Pope Leos. I think there's about 10 of them roughly in this order. Expecting a lot of 9.5s, as you would have saw in a previous grading reveal. When I raced GameStop versus PSA Direct, I put my best Pope Leos in that submission. These are ones that just had tiny little something going on compared to the 10 that I sent in that order. So I'm expecting 9.5s, probably a few 10s, but we'll get started here. First one, gem mint 10 on Pope Leo. Pope Leo number 2. And another gem mint 10. So they were very kind to me here, or I was either very harsh on grading those, or pre-grading them, I should say. Pope Leo, the third one here, and another gem mint 10. So we are rocking in this submission here. Remember, these are a lot of cards that I was expecting 9.5s on, SGC 9.5s. And so any 10 I can get is pretty nice. Pope Leo again. Another gem mint 10. We are cooking. Ooh, and here, it's a little bit of a spoiler. When you see that kind of brown logo there, that means we got a pristine, this would be basically CGC's version of a Beckett Black label. So we've got a Pope Leo in a pristine 10. And this, I actually might keep this card. That's kind of cool. So that is pristine 10 on Pope Leo. Our gem rate's like a little bit better than 10. Pope Leo again. Gem mint 10. CGC treating me well here. Pope Leo one more time. One more 10. Pope Leo. There we go. There's our first non-gem. So the Pope Leo and a 9. I'm okay with that. I was expecting more than just that one. So here we should have a run of about 4 or 5 of the base tops now. Rock, John Cena, and Travis Scott. These I'm expecting mostly 10s on. And here's 10 on the first one. Here is the second, another 10. One more time. All right. All right, and another 10. And as you're watching this, if you're thinking CGC is soft, they absolutely are not. I am just getting a good start to this order. I don't believe I'm going to be just gemming everything, and don't feel like you will gem everything. My experience has been they're very fair, but they are definitely not soft. I've had them be pretty harsh on me, about the same as PSA. Yeah, so just getting that out of the way. Here we had the Goody Michael Jordan, and that one got a 9. It's got a nice shine on it, but 9 on the MJ there. We've got another Michael Jordan. I believe this was one of them that expecting a 9.5 on, and that one got a 9. Here's another one of the minor league Jordans. This was a pre-grade 9.5, and we got another 10. So I believe when I was describing those in the preview, I mentioned that those are pretty easy grades, and those minor league Jordans are very easy grades and they're very cheap. So that's something, if you're just looking to kind of get your feet wet in grading and you don't want to take a huge risk as far as like a financial risk, those are really good cards to play around with, because even if you turn them in and get a 9, your all-in cost is below $15. Not a lot of risk. Well, we kind of spoiled this one, but we got NBA Hoops Michael Jordan in a 10. The left to right centering on this one looked off to me, and I didn't think it would gem, but we will definitely take this old Hoops in a gem any day. Those cards can go for even like $50, even in the CGC holder. So that is very welcome. This was the league leader card. I believe this had Mookie Blaylock, Stockton, and Jordan. This is also pre-graded a 9.5, and it did get a 10. This is a really low-end card here, but any playing year's Jordan at a 10 is going to get you some money. So almost certainly $40 like every time. Here is the Jordan. I think this was the Victory foil. This was pre-graded at a 9.5. It had a little soft corner in the front. And this one got a 10, which is weird. I mean, I can still see that corner is not right. So this bottom corner right here, if you just look at it, it looks like it was like pinched or something at one time. You can see it reflects a little funny. It's sharp. It's just, like when you hit it with the light, it's just not right. But it got a 10, so it is what it is. Here is another Jordan. This is the Records and Performances Upper Deck Athlete of the Century set. This was pre-graded at a 9, and it did get a 9. Here's another MJ. This is a Catch 23 insert set. This one just had a tiny little nick on the front. This is pre-graded at a 9.5, and the nick must have been a little worse than I thought. 8.5, by far the worst card of the order. That's probably going to be an L. So when I'm talking about making profit, that is probably not going to be. All right, here is another Michael Jordan. This is another Upper Deck Air of Greatness card. And this got a 9.5. So it's our first 9.5 of the order. That one got exactly what it should have, at least according to me. It's a Goodwin Champions cheap Jordan here. This one was pre-graded at 9.5. Just had a little bit of, I don't want to say paper loss, but just not a perfect corner. But they did push this through to a 10. We will take any Michael Jordan in a 10. Next, we've got the Wayne Gretzky. This was the Upper Deck Masterpieces, and this had just a little bit of a kind of a corner, much like that Victory Jordan. It just wasn't sharp. It's okay, but it's just not, to me, not gem worthy. This is probably going to get a 9 or 9.5. Or not. These are tough gems, especially with the foil edges. That Wayne might be kind of sneaky nice there. So, got another Wayne Gretzky. This was a Goodwin Champions Orange Prism. This was pre-graded, I believe, at a 9.5 or a 10. Serial number to 499. And this one got a 9. You can't win them all, and if those are the ones you wanna miss on the Goodwin Champions and get the hits on your playing your cards. So Juju Watkins, this was a just base orange. This was pre-graded at a 9.5. Just had just a little bit of unperfect corner, but cards like this can easily gem. And this one did. Another 10 there with Juju. This was the Topps Chrome McDonald's base, Juju Watkins and Hannah Hidalgo. This was pre-graded at a 9.5. And it did get the 9.5. So not bad. That's a decent little card there. Ooh, we can tell by the brown logo we got another spoiler here. This is a Caleb Williams, and this one I believe had like just some like breaks in the stippling up here where I thought maybe the cut just wasn't as clean. I guess I was either wrong or they were just being very kind to me, because we got a pristine 10 on the Caleb Williams Goodwin Champions. Nice little Caleb there. I think I had a few of his good ones in this submission. Here we had the Caleb Williams Tortoiseshell. This is numbered to 149. This was pre-graded at a 9.5. And this one got the 9. So it's kind of a cool looking card, but 9 on that one. That is probably a break even or slightly worse. You have to get 10s on those. Here is another orange prism, much like the Wayne Gretzky we saw before. This is the Caleb Williams number to 499. I think this one was actually pre-graded at a 10 or a 9.5. And that one got the 10, so that's a nice little card there. A few more to go through here. So JJ McCarthy, this is the wild card haunted hit, serial number to 4. This one was pre-graded at a 10. I believe it was really clean. The corners are really nice and sharp. But it pulled an 8. And these are really hard to grade usually. I imagine I missed something on the front surface. Sometimes you have to hit these with like a really bright flashlight just to see little surface scratches, and these wild cards are notorious for having really bad surfaces. So that's probably my bad. Looked good enough, and that's how you get caught dumping money into grading when you shouldn't. You got to be thorough all the time. All right, Goodwin Champions Rainbow, CJ Stroud rookie, pre-graded at I believe a 10. And it did get the 10, so nice card there. This was the Queen Elizabeth Oprah Winfrey card, pre-graded at a 10. This was super clean, and it did get a 10. So these little cards can kind of be sneaky sometimes. There are always people out there that are Oprah fans and not necessarily card collectors, but they will buy things like that. So we will see. This was the Upper Deck Special Edition Austin Matthews. This was pre-graded at a 9.5. It had just a little dimple on the top, if I remember right, up here. It did get pushed through to a 10. I'll see if I can get the dimple to pop. It just doesn't seem to want to, but if you kind of look next to the E on the edition, there's like a little, see if I can get it to pop here in the, it's almost like an indent, or hard to explain, but yeah, they gave it a pass, but I don't know. I'm pretty sure there's a little something there. I'll take it, but it's a 9.5 to me. This was Jason Tatum, pre-graded at a 10. This card looked about as clean as anything in the order, and apparently was not. That one got a 9. So, joke's on me. LeBron James, this was the Optic. It's one of those box set parallels. I don't remember the exact name of it, but this I gave a 9.5 mainly because of the centering. Centering just wasn't ideal, and it's spot of the money. So just the left-right centering got it here. Otherwise, the card is really, really clean. Not bad. Got a nice little shine to it. All right. This was the Cynthia Cooper rookie, early WNBA champion and MVP, legend women basketball player. We just didn't get to see her whole career in the league because she had already played professional before the league started for a while. So we got a little bit of peak Cynthia Cooper, but not enough of it. And she's a very, very good player. This is pre-graded at a 10, but there was a Pinnacle logo on the front. I'll see if I can get it to shine here where it kind of caused the back to indent a little bit there. You can see it real good there. So there's a little indentation. Sometimes graders really slam you there. Sometimes they just accept that it's part of the design, and as long as the paper isn't cracked or broken back here, they will just leave it alone. And that's what they did here. So this is a grader that really knows the set, knows what's up. So always appreciate that. Oh, we got a Luka Doncic. This Luka had a little bit of a print line, I believe, on the back by the Mavericks logo, if I remember right. So this was pre-graded at a 9.5 or 10. I don't remember, but the Luka tricolor, or excuse me, the red, white, and orange shimmer got a 10. Got a Tom Brady. This was a Topps playing years. I think it was like an 05 or something like that. Pre-graded at a 10. It was really nice and clean. White edges, front and back. So, but Tom got a 9. So another one wrong on that one. Magic Johnson. This was the Archives, I believe, refractor. Pre-graded at a 9.5. Just had one corner that was a little off. This was the one that had some like refractor gunk on the front, and I was using the microfiber cloth and hot breath trying to really kind of buff that front surface out, but it was very tacky with the refractor gunk, and it was, I did the best I could, but it just never was quite right. It got a 9. I'm not surprised. It's a good looking card, but it just got that refractor gunk, and I'm not really one of those that puts a lot of product on your cards to clean them. So I did what I could, but that would probably be something where somebody using the polish or whatever you want to call it would crack and probably get a better grade. So here is the final card of the order. This is the Patrick Mahomes Snapshots Insert Silver from Select. This was pre-graded, I believe, at a 9.5. Had just a little bit of a ding on it, if I remember, like a surface nick. And this one got the 10. So I got a nice Mahomes Silver here in a 10. CGC was very decent to me on some of those 9.5s. So get this box out of the way, get this off to the side here, and get a little look at the final results. Get that in camera. Got just a few turds here. We got the JJ, which is kind of a turd card anyway, and the Michael Jordan at an 8.5. Got the stack of 9s here. 3, 6, 9 9s. Not too bad. 3 9.5s. Then, of course, the 2 pristine 10s, the Pope Leo and Caleb Williams. And then a whole block of 10s. Look at the size of that. As I was going through the cards here, you would have seen that not only was I into these cards very cheap, but I was into grading them very cheap. And that is where I believe you can make money pretty easily grading your sports cards with CGC. You need to get into the right cards, which would be lower end, like color and parallels of your GOATs, like silvers of Patrick Mahomes, your optic box set LeBron, stuff like that. You can get into those cards very cheap, $2 or $3, and you can grade them very cheap. When you grade with bulk with CGC as a member, you get their bulk pricing plus their discount. You can get your cards graded for, I think it's like $11.20 or something like that per card. And I was able to get these even cheaper on this order because when you sign up as a member, you get a grading credit that you can apply to your orders. So that grading credit was applied to this to drive the price down even more. So that is why when you're seeing my cost to grade, you're thinking, well, how in the world is he getting cards graded for that? That's how I was able to do it. So you can't do it every time, but you can get that grading credit applied once you become a member. It's similar to like the Collectors Club with PSA, but their perks are given out in different ways where CGC gives their perks like into their grading itself, which is nice. That is to me like a must if you're becoming a member there, is send in for a bulk submission, get some cards like this, grade them. You're into them for such a little amount of money that like you're going to make some good profit right away. Now, once you've used that credit up, you're going to be consistently paying $11 a card. So you do have to be mindful of that, but you should have a vision in place of if that card gets a 9 or 9.5, very similar to PSA, can you count on making a little bit of money or breaking even and then making your money on the 10s? That's exactly what we're going to do here. I was able to fortunately get a lot of 10s to carry this order. So with that being said, I'm going to get to work selling these. I'll do a follow-up video when I sell through enough of them to show you how easy it is to make profit on this. And this is what I'm doing here with some of my low-end cards. This PSA with their grading right now being over $20 a card, it's just too much. Like if you were to grade a card like this and get a 10, you might sell it for $40, maybe, but you spent so much to grade it and you wasted so much time. And the risk factor is so much larger. If this card comes back a 9 and you put that much money into it, like you're probably not going to break even. You're almost certainly going to lose. Now look at it from this perspective. You spend $11 to grade it with CGC and you get a 10. You could probably sell it for 30. You're not getting the peak sale price that you're getting with this card at a PSA 10 versus CGC 10. You're gonna sell it for less. But your entry point to get it graded is so much lower and your all-in cost is so much lower. Your profit's probably going to be same or similar. And those are the types of cards you need to be sending in to CGC, and then be patient. You have to know that because the amount of buyers looking to buy these is so much less than PSA, you may have to set them up for buy it now and just understand that they're going to sell a little bit slower. But there is a strategy where you can grade these cards in volume and make money. Despite what many of the people on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, wherever you get your card fix at, they will tell you can't make money grading sports cards with CGC. I'll tell you, I've been doing it since 2021. It's doable, and I hope that you were able to see a little bit about how I go about that. It's pretty simple. GOAT players, color, parallel, lower end rookies of hot or hyped players, those sorts of things, maybe a few oddballs, stuff that would sell to the right collector regardless of the slab that it's in, things like that. But I hope you enjoyed the grading reveal here. Typically, whenever I do a grading reveal, It brings out the grading Watchdogs of YouTube. When I do an SGC video, it automatically gets like an instant thumbs down from what I assume is a PSA watchdog. When I post a PSA video, I get the automatic thumbs down from the SGC watchdogs, and vice versa. So there's going to be some people that just immediately see CGC in the thumbnail and hate it immediately. That's the nature of the beast. But I really like them as a grading company. They've always been very good, very consistent with their grading. Their slabs to me are the best in the business. I use them for most of my PC cards unless it's like a registry set sort of thing, but I love like building my rainbows with them. It's very affordable. Overall, the service is just pretty good. The only thing I'll ever really say that it has not been good is the amount of times they've changed their label and name. That has been very frustrating for me, who likes a very OCD collection of everything to match. I've had to reholder my cards a few times, and that is not fun, putting $5, $10 into a slab you already have again and again and again. But I'm past that. I think that's all been cleaned up. I've vented before in previous videos from that, so I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. But that is CGC. That is why I like them. That is why I would encourage anybody to give them a shot. I think that they are positioned very well as the solid number 2 right now behind PSA, and I really don't see anybody else making any moves to go after them. Beckett, I think, has the name and the opportunity if they did something. It just doesn't seem like growth is of interest to them in the last few years. Maybe if an acquisition ever happens, that could change the landscape for them. SGC is now in 4th place. They fell from 2nd to 4th in a matter of about 6 months, and I don't see that turning around. CGC has always been really popular with TCG, Pokemon, stuff like that, and they're just starting to get a little traction with sports cards, but to be honest, most of it is like Tops now and stuff like that. It's not quite there yet, but I believe it will. I don't have any concern about having like any of these slabs for 3 years or 5 years, where I do have that concern for sure with SGC, maybe a little bit with Beckett, just because I don't know what they're doing. And they just don't seem to be adapting. So that's the video. Those are the cards. Like, comment, subscribe. Anything you can do to help the channel is very much appreciated. Not much more time to spend on these cards today, so until next time, we'll see ya.